In this video, you are going to learn about 3 CapCut editing tips that are going to help you achieve more views on all of your videos. And these are tips that I've applied to my content to help me get views like this and views like this on numerous types of videos that I've made. Now, no more introduction is needed. Let's just jump right in. Editing tip number 1 is going to be digital zooms. Now, there are 2 kinds of digital zooms that you can do within CapCut. One is going to be a regular jump cut that looks something like this, or you can use keyframes to get a digital zoom that looks like this. Both types of zooms are very effective at keeping your audience's attention, and here's how you're going to be able to do them. The first zoom I'm going to teach you about is that jump zoom, and again, it's going to look something like this. And when we perform this within CapCut, it's actually very simple. So let's jump right into our CapCut app and see how we can make this happen. You're going to want to upload some sort of video and have something already ready to go in your video editor. And if we scroll, we see this is a quick 15-second video that I have made. And at this moment, it doesn't really matter exactly where the jump cut happens, but I'm just going to show you exactly how you can do that. So if we want, let's just say I'm going to have it right here. We make sure the clip is highlighted. And what we're going to want to do, we're going to want to come to the bottom left of our screen. You see where split is happening. I can press on split. It's going to split that clip into 2 different clips. And now because I want the zoom to happen on the second clip, I can actually highlight that second clip, make sure that's highlighted. And if we look at our main screen, we see that it is blue around the entire video. That is what we want to see. That it means that we are on the proper clip that we want to make that zoom happen. So all we have to do to actually create that zoom is to take our fingers, put it on there, and we pinch and zoom in. So we pinch, zoom in. You press it, you open your fingers. That's going to help you zoom in on the actual video right there. And let's say we want to have another zoom out again. We can just move further along the timeline. We come to the bottom left again. We press split again. And as you can see, that's going to split it into another 2 clips. So now we highlight that second clip again because we don't want to be as zoomed in at this point in the video. We make sure things are highlighted and we come and we do the pinch technique again. And as you can see, now we aren't as zoomed in. Now, if I come and play back this video, you're going to see exactly how the zooms look when they're happening. See, there was 1 zoom and now we're about to zoom back out. Just like that. That's exactly how you do those quick zoom in, zoom outs when it comes to that technique within CapCut. The next type of zoom that I'm going to teach you about is that keyframe zoom that looks something like this. This type of zoom is going to be much smoother, however you use it, whether it's a quick digital zoom like this or a much slower one like this. It just looks a lot smoother when you're doing it, even within CapCut. So in order to do this within CapCut, we're going to come back inside our video editor, and you see the same exact video that we just looked at, but instead of splitting the clips, we're not going to need to do that. We're going to use keyframes instead. So we're going to make sure that our clip is highlighted. And let's say I want to start the zoom at the very beginning of the video and end the zoom, let's just say right about here. So what I'm going to want to do, because I scrolled to this part of the timeline, I'm going to press on the keyframe button, which if we look above our timeline, it's going to be this diamond symbol right here. So if we press on that and we look back at our timeline on our video, you see that a diamond has been added. That diamond is signifying a keyframe within our video. So if we scroll over it, you see that it changes red. That means that I can now edit this keyframe. I can edit the video within this keyframe, and whatever I start editing, that's what's going to happen. But before we do that, before we do any type of zoom, we want to add in another keyframe at the beginning of our video because that's where we want our zoom to start happening. So we're going to come to the beginning of our video and we're going to press the keyframe symbol again. And as you can see, we have 1 keyframe there at the beginning of the video now, and we have our other keyframe right here. Now, these 2 keyframes are saying this is the starting point of the zoom, and this is going to be the ending point of the zoom. So because we want the second keyframe to be the ending of our zoom, all we're going to want to do is come to that keyframe, make sure that it's highlighted red. We're going to come to our video and we're going to do our pinch technique to zoom in as much as we want to. Now, if I quickly scroll back to the beginning of the video, you see that it's not nearly as zoomed in. But when I press play, you'll see that the zoom is slowly starting to happen until it reaches that second keyframe. And when it reaches that second keyframe, the zoom stops, because that is what we told our keyframes to do. We told the first keyframe, this is where we want our zoom to start happening. The second keyframe, this is where we want the zoom to stop happening. And the rest of the video from there, the rest of this clip, is going to be as zoomed in as we already have it. Now, if I wanted to get back to the normal size of the frame, I could just come to further down the timeline, press on my keyframe button again. We have 3 keyframes on this clip. The first one is saying this is where we want the zoom to start happening. The second one is saying that's where we want the zoom in to stop happening and the zoom out to start happening. So then we come to the third keyframe, and that's when we're telling the clip, hey, this is where I want the zoom out to stop happening. So if I come to the beginning and I press play, you'll see that the video starts to zoom in, then zoom out, all because of the keyframes, and it's going to be a lot smoother than the first zoom in technique that you saw a little bit earlier. So press play, see that it is zooming in until it reaches that second keyframe, and then it automatically starts to pull back out, zoom out until it reaches that third keyframe right there. That is exactly how you're going to use keyframes to get that zoom in, zoom out, that smooth zoom in whenever you are producing any kind of content. Either type of zoom is going to be something that really captures your audience's attention. It's something that the audience needs a visual cue in some way to make sure that their attention stays on the video. And these are 2 techniques with digital zooms that you can use within CapCut to help make that happen. The second editing tip is going to be something that I like to call sticky text, or something that you can say is the tracking of text, meaning that the text is going to follow a certain point on the video that you want to see. And it can look something exactly like this. Now, in order to do that, we're going to come within CapCut. We are going to find a certain point in our video where text tracking would make sense. And as you can see, I did this in the video on purpose. I'm moving my hand. I did that specifically so that I could have text tracking and it actually makes sense within the context of this video. Now, in order to do this, you're going to want to make sure that nothing is highlighted on your timeline. We're going to come to the bottom of the screen. We see text. We're going to tap on text, and then we see add text. So we're going to press on add text, and you should have something like this pop up on your screen. And because this is just an example of text tracking, well, I'm just going to type in example. And from there, we can stylize it if we want. I always recommend stylizing things the way you want them to look. I want this to stand out a little bit, so we're going to make it pretty bold and make it pretty big as well, so that you can actually tell what the text is. So once I do that, we're going to press on this check mark. And because I want the text to start here, I'm going to leave that there, but I'm going to want to drag it to the end of this text, the end of this clip actually. And if we see, it comes to the end of this clip and onto the next one. The next step is to move the text exactly where you want it on the screen. So I'm going to move it right above my finger, because my finger is going to be going back and forth. So because of that, I want my text to be above my finger and make it look like that I'm moving the text with my finger. Now, to start getting the tracking feature going, we're going to make sure that the text is highlighted on the timeline. We're going to come to the bottom of the screen. We're going to scroll all the way to the right until we find tracking. So we're going to press on tracking. And then you see that a yellow circle is going to pop up. This is where we can modify that circle. But you see there's a point in the middle of that circle. I'm going to move the point to where my hand is, just because it's going to be a little bit easier for CapCut to track where my hand is. So I want to make it a little bit bigger. I want that point to be the point that is being followed. Again, you can move this circle and make it smaller to help get a little bit more of a precise reading. But I've found that when you make it too small, the text doesn't necessarily track it. The text is kind of jumpy all over the place. So when you have a bigger area for CapCut to track, it is going to make the text a little bit easier to follow. Text is going to have an easier time following the object that you select. So once you have your area selected with that yellow circle, you're going to want to come to start tracking. So if we press on start tracking, you see that the text is starting to track, and CapCut is doing its best to do exactly what we want it to do. So now we should have sticky text on my finger. So if I come and before the text even pops up and I press on play, you see that it followed my hand until I dropped my hand. So where's the point where I drop my right about there? So let's shrink that text right there. But if we press play again, you see how when my finger was going back and forth, the text followed that pretty seamlessly, back and forth, back and forth. The tracking did exactly what I wanted it to do. And there are so many different types of uses for this. And again, this is something that is going to keep your audience's attention. It's going to grab their eye. It's going to make them be like, oh, what was that? That's cool. I want to see that again. Little things like that, when you're actually throwing them in your videos, that makes your audience rewire their brain. That makes them think, oh, that was something I didn't expect. When they see something they didn't expect, they're more than likely going to watch more of your video because you're giving them something, again, they didn't expect, they wanted to see. They didn't even know they wanted to see it. So that is just another good tip on how you can actually use sticky text to your advantage and how to actually do that sticky text technique within CapCut. My third and final CapCut editing tip is going to be to use those previous two techniques, the zoom and that sticky text, within the first 5 seconds of your video. When it comes to having viral videos, the most important part of those videos is going to be those first 5 seconds. Because once you actually have your audience's attention in those first 5 seconds, they're more likely to stick around for more of the video. The hardest part is to grab their attention right away, which is why you need to utilize those first 5 seconds. Because everyone's attention spans are so short, we have a tendency to continue scrolling after a couple seconds of every video. We need something that is going to grab our attention right away. So if we use these two techniques at the very beginning of our videos, that is going to be something that is eye-catching. That is going to be something that really makes you want to stop and see where the rest of the video goes. That is going to help contribute significantly to any viral video you might have. Think about every single viral video that you've seen, every video that has millions of likes, every video that has millions of views. Are the first couple seconds boring? Are you thinking to yourself, man, I don't know if I can watch this video after the first 5 seconds of it? No, every video that is viral grabs your attention in some way within those first 5 seconds, whether it be through text, whether it be through something like a zoom, whether it be some other type of technique out there. Your attention is grabbed in those first 5 seconds of the video. So that is why when it comes to these editing tips, you want to do everything that you can to make sure your audience is fully paying attention to what you're going to do in those first 5 seconds. And there you have it, 3 CapCut editing tips that you can use in your next video to help you get more views, get more attention, get more eyeballs on your videos, basically help you go viral. Now, if this was a video that you believe is going to help you when it comes to creating better content, be sure to leave a like. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, be sure to leave a comment. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well, because you don't want to miss out on all of the help that I'm going to be providing for you. Whether it comes to growing a social platform, being a better editor, being a better content creator, whatever you want to do, I'm going to be helping you with that. But other than that, that's all I got for you. My name's Steven. Be sure to catch you in the next one. Peace.